Okay, well, she's going just to the local market, so I won't be going there. But here's basically, I'm just going to start up right where I left off, and that's basically that pattern. And like I said before, um, you know, understanding music and the theory and motion and all that kind of stuff is helpful. I'm not going to deny it. That's really, really helpful to see more patterns. But right now, this is just a raw finger, you know, motion, just so that you can get your hands used to moving, regardless of how they're going to move, just used to the idea of moving in different ways. So, and using your pattern, starting on A, and this that block pattern you have of so just using that block pattern. That one you've got you seeing using, and you obviously you can see me going up and down, and you can fast forward through this section to see the what I'm talking about. I'm just giving you a somewhat element of accompaniment to run through it and have you see what it is all the way through, and also to kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, to let you know how sometimes how boring it is to just go up and down with these basic patterns, but they're kind of necessary for all this motor memory and like I was saying, not getting stuck in a rut, freedom from motor memory by doing those blocks and various stuffs in different fashions and going up and down. You will end up having like lots of different kinds of ways that your fingers are used to moving, so you don't end up so stuck in ruts as far as picking always the same notes or always doing it the same way. So that's kind of why all the different patterns are useful. Obviously, going up and down is because it just then locks in that group of notes, and that pattern gets locked in as a thought. And like I said, going up and down, then you have that block regardless of all the other theory, and then that leads to having that motor memory allows you to sort of sense where you are when you're playing on a more intuitive level. Because realistically, when you're playing on this level, I mean, some of these jazz players are probably knowing exactly which note. Oh, look, this is the flat third of that particular chord, and this is a sharp nine of this fucking chord over here or whatever, and they know all that particular and exactly what it does. But sometimes when you're playing, you're just sort of playing in those patterns and you're floating in through notes. So it's not as thoughtful, as it's not as cognizant or logic based as you think. It's internal or instinctive. So that's why these raw basic patterns are useful, independent of music theory. So again, I'm rambling, but here I go. Okay, so that's basically, that's basically what is is needed. Is you kind of got to do that stuff. Now you can take the other patterns, the skit, the one I just did, and you have your up here the other variations, but that you have from here that's that or that's that. I can't even think of the word now, and I've lost. Um, Gosh, the scale we're talking about, the C scale, the not C major scale, the I don't know, brain fart. Um, in any case, it's the part of that chain, of your chord. The gosh, what a brain dead place. Um, there are arpeggios, the pentatonic, I guess. Um, so it's another one of those patterns of the pentatonic. You know that you have that one, and then so that's another one of those blocks and that thing. Now, what I did with this, up and down the neck, take that next one of your patterns that so that's your root and your the pentatonic scale. Now, start like say on the G and do the same thing I did, go up to at least the 10th, maybe the 12th fret, but at least the 10th fret, so that your fingers hit the 12th fret here, your last finger. But I'm going to do this one. That same one you had before, it's the pentatonic there, but I'm just going to start over here. I'm just going to go. I should slow it down. Okay, yeah, I'm not here right now, but but it's the same thing, and you can take the 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 A shape grouping that he's got of the pentatonic scale and slide that up, and the C shape one, when and the chords, the notes in the and that block diagram you have, and just go up the neck with that pattern. Don't worry about what note it's like. Is this the C or G or D or F? Just do that pattern. Know what note you're starting from, and then how that pattern fits for that note that you started from. And that's going to help you with, just basic motor memory. So there's that. He did have some advanced things in there, which are, as you get more ambitious, I think it's very useful. Like the, not so much the one linear straightforward ones, but like that second pattern I did where I jumbled them up a little. It's basically, he does it where he says he does it in threes or fours or something like that, but it's basically by doing it in a step, rather than going in a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of linear, straightforward fashion. You move and hop it away. You go.
Then how much of everything? I just got salami or
That's cool.
a
That's
piece
fine.
of jerky.
That's fine.
Hey, my mouse here.
There you go. And so, I mean, I'll go through this again, but basically, that's another way of getting your fingers to get used to doing something different, and that's kind of the key, is to do 5, 6, 7 of these different patterns, so that your fingers have like lots of different ways that they think about moving. They it frees them up, it frees your mind, and it gets your brain used to that pattern. And then as we learn function, and you want to know what exact note, like ski, is that a C, is that an A, or whatever, then you can like peg that onto parts, and it fits together, and it's kind of slowly accumulates, but basically, that's the part of the key, is to just get that basic motor memory, independent of all this music theory stuff. And so study the music theory will help chord functionality and the scales to like help choose some of the notes and stuff like that. But then there's also this pure physical just exercise without having necessarily any particular relation to a key or anything. So again, I would say some of those patterns are really helpful. Some of them are like really fast and losingly. I think he's kind of like overwhelming you with a lot of without giving you a foundation or a structure on which to like do his shredding. He's doing these little shred notes, and I'm like, okay, well, where does that fit? So I'm I'm rambling because I haven't thought this out, and I'm just doing this because I want to share something with you before I go. But basically, practice some of those scale things he said as such. I think we should help understanding a little bit more about chord function, specifically chord function. You can look that up on the internet, and it's it helps that, and it's the 1, 4, 5 I was talking about and stuff like that. And it helps identify certain things. So in any case, I'm going to stop rambling. fucked up. So yeah, I'm gonna do that once, like 2 frets, really kind of slow, but I want to be foundational. So, I mean, there's just some stuff. Now I gotta do this. So yeah, you can get that, but just getting some of these patterns. Um, and like if you practice this, you know, this A minor pentatonic that you've got with this class and whatnot, think about that block and pattern or whatever, and literally just find a song on the internet that's in A minor and just play with that scale. Just and just don't worry about being right. Don't worry about doing anything. Just put on the music, like all along the Watchtower, you know. It's practically the solo section from Stairway to Heaven. That's all in A minor. So just put on all along the Watchtower, and jam along. Don't worry about anything. Just do, because you will start to um just by knowing that those notes are there in that block, without knowing the scale, just by knowing that that's where your fingers should kind of go when that's an A minor or whatever, your fingers will go to those spots and you will hear it and you'll feel it a little bit. And I know that you want to do more melodic lines and all that stuff will come out, but you begin to develop those melodic lines by sort of getting a sense of where what sounds come out of what parts of the of when you're putting your fingers down. And just by playing and tweaking with that, you are still building some of that motor memory and experience, and it all adds together. And with any given thing, anything that you do, the more you do it, the more you repeat it, the more you do it, you're going to get a little bit better. But that doesn't mean your first initial efforts can still be pretty successful. You can still be pretty hitting right notes, hitting notes that sound like they're pretty spot on and in the right space. And just last night or whatever, when it's basically said, okay, look here, just pick those notes and play around. Just tweak those notes. Your sense, your ear is basically showing promise. You've already got the sense of how the notes would like maybe not exactly what note to go exactly where, but you'd play the note and let it ring, or play it short, and you'd move to a different note, or various things. And that basically is kind of a do you have an ear? And I would have to say that your initial experience based on last night is that you do have an ear, and that your basic instinct about where to put your fingers and what notes to pick and how to do it or whatever will come across as you start doing it, even if you don't have this pentatonic scale understanding and this in the key of C or in this whatever chord functionality. Even if you don't have all of that, just the fact that your fingers are put down and you're making noise, you're learning and you're memorizing. You're bit by bit getting it. And I can only say just try to keep going with that, practice those scales and stuff like that. And then also, like I just said just this very second or whatever, just pick a song that has the key of A minor, And I'm sure there's ways of finding that on Google, or YouTube, or whatever. Like I said, all along the Watchtower is in A minor. The solo section of Stairway is in A minor, but you have to get to that solo section. But in any case, that's like that, and just play around with it. Don't even worry about what notes you're hitting, and you're not going onto concert stage right at the moment. So feel free to experiment and feel free to make mistakes. Don't worry about not making a mistake. If you're making thousands of dollars an hour as a professional musician, then you got to worry about not making a mistake. But for the most part, this is for fun. This is for life. This isn't for it's not some grandiose thing. It's basically it's your experience. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying it? And that's the key, at least for me. I'm trying to pass along some of that. The information I'm trying to pass along to you is to help you move into the enjoyment of music and not have this struggle of trying to am I doing all these things right, or am I playing this scale right, or whatever. So I think I'm kind of done for the day, because I do want to hang out with Linda and all that, and I'm certainly not this isn't edited. I haven't. There are probably things I've said that I would chop out because it's all kind of redundant bullcrap. But in essence, that's a sense of some of the stuff that I hope maybe we can talk about. Is getting some of this concept of chord functionality and how it fits in the scale will help understand how chords relate to each other. That sense of functionality helps you understand, the C pentatonic scale, or I guess, the pentatonic scale. And sometimes when you use it in a certain way, it would sound more like a C pentatonic scale. And when you said other ways, it would sound more like an A minor pentatonic scale, even though by technical definition, it's the same group of notes, but it's kind of which notes you emphasize. So that's farther down the road as such, but that's still, it's part of that basic concept of that, of 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 the patterns. Sometimes the way he did it, it's kind of like it's pretty overwhelming in its breakdown of minutia, rather than sort of getting an overall view and then sort of saying, well, here's the overall map. And the chart that has the caged with the brackets on the side, and it shows all 5 of the block patterns, along the fret. That's kind of where we're moving towards, is so that that you have I kind of lost my thought, but that yeah, I completely lost my thought. Basically, trying to help you have fun with it, and like I did with some of those exercises, sometimes straight up it isn't quite fun. You just got to do the basic, raw form exercises, and I guess the only last thing I would say is that sometimes just pick some of the songs you like and just play solid rhythm. Just play the smooth rhythm. Just make sure you got a smooth flow. So just having a smooth flow in your rhythm playing will also make an immense sense of how you're playing the notes when you're actually playing scales and leads and stuff like that. Just having that solid sense of flow and rhythm. So all those scales, he's doing a lot of scales in that lesson um, system you've got, and it really is for like some of the Yngwie Malmsteen high speed kind of guitar playing. Um, there isn't very much of the talking about like what would make a basic pop song or a basic you know a basic tune like the Grateful Dead country western song or a whatever dance pop music whatever that's basically just a simple basic chords and stuff. Um, um, so there's some of that which I think is kind of missing from what he's been showing you. It's very very specific towards the high speed and lead guitar playing and stuff like that. So I would maybe say one of the things is maybe on YouTube and stuff, a lesson plan or two slightly more emphasizing rhythm guitar playing and stuff like that, because then you'll have the solidness of rhythm as a feeling, as a sense within you, and then you if by having that sort of, it's like an internal clock or internal metronome, I would say, like an internal metronome, tick, 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 even though it's the chords you've been practicing all this time. By the time you go to the leads, you have that internal memory of that sort of, you get that flow. Having a good sense of rhythmic flow like that can make a difference later. So when you're playing lead, it's kind of so practicing rhythm and rhythm guitar, quite a bit, will translate into your lead guitar playing, having much more sense of flow, and at least in my opinion, I think that the foundation of that rhythm guitar playing in yourself and playing it regularly, regularly just playing chords, just playing a very basic simple chord and playing along with somebody just as an accompaniment, just saying I am going to play minor, very very light little accompaniment to somebody, on a YouTube song, whatever. It doesn't really matter. They don't have to know you're playing with them. But basically that, that get that flow going, and then that will translate into your rhythm playing and your pattern development and all the other things as well. So I think that's it for the moment. I'm going to take a break and oh my thumb, jeez, and basically maybe I'll put together something else. And right now you've got like an hour and a half worth of stuff that I'm gonna show you. Some of the stuff I'm hoping you'll watch in pieces. You won't watch the whole thing at once, but you'll see a part and you'll like rewind a few parts because I'm trying to like compress a lot of concepts into a I want to put each block in its right place so that you have the foundation for the understanding, but I also want to kind of make it sort of like in a compactness, so that it's a digestible piece of information for you. Um, um, Within a couple of viewings, it might not be one viewing get everything all the way through, but the bottom line is that um, sometimes it seems like people take way too long to explain something, and I'm probably guilty of that, given the fact this is now an hour and a half or so. But basically, to help you, help you get the big picture, I guess, and start piecing it together. You know, you got this scale and you got these chords, and they kind of work together. And how do they work together? And then things like that. So that's basically it. And I will maybe talk to you at some point soon or whenever, and we'll jam and do things. All right. Au revoir.